Melbourne. Melbourne. Doing my best to say Melbourne and the way the Australians say it, Melbourne. So if you're going to come to Melbourne, it's a little expensive. $102 is the average nightly rate on Airbnb. However, you can stay outside of the city to cut down on that cost. Maggie and I would recommend 3 to 4 days, full days, to really experience the city because it's huge. It's known as the cultural and art capital of Australia, and for good reason. There's so much live music and street art, and there's shows, and there's so many cool clubs and like dance clubs and rooftop bars and comedy shows. I know I said shows already. Well, not to mention there's all these other activities and events going on in the city that you'll need several days to do, like all the water activities here in St. Kilda, which you'll see when you watch the video. But there's also big events, like we're here actually for the Australia Open, which will be our next video, which you need to check that out. They also have a Grand Prix track, and the first race every year of the Grand Prix is here in Melbourne, Australia. It's just a really cool city, super hip, super good vibe. Definitely recommend it. Let's get to the video.
The best night I can feel it. When I see you around, my heart is set to healing. I got a feeling. My love tonight's off. If you want to dance, you have to try to get it on.
In Melbourne, they have trams all around the city. It's one of the largest tram networks in the world. And the way to get on and off the tram, you can use this My Key, which is a pass that you top up whenever you need transportation to or from somewhere, and then it's good for a 2-hour period. After that 2-hour period, if you use it up to 2 2-hour periods, it becomes like a day pass. So that's how you get around in Melbourne. The 2-hour pass is $4.30.
So this is Federation Square. When they built Melbourne, they didn't have like a central square where people could hang out, and they're like, well, we got to build one. So they built it, and then it was like a big failure. People didn't come hang out here because, you know, anytime the government or the administrators or the school system says this is cool, you should hang out, mandatory fun, no one wants to do it. But then later in the 90s, it was redeveloped and people started hanging out. Now you got all this really cool architecture. It's just like a center of the city. Since we're here during the Australia Open, there's this free viewing area set up, and they've got free sunscreen and free water. Everyone's.
We always find our way to the bar.
So in Federation Square, there's a beer garden, which you know we're fans of. There's also like a little ice cream shop. I tried to go in there and order some ice cream, but the guy was like super robotic, and he kept saying the same thing. He was like, it's a wonderful day, and so we didn't get any ice cream.
Today is a wonderful day, a day that brings more rewarding experiences, like enjoying an ice cream, the first of its kind robotic ice cream bar.
So the river is right next to Federation Square. Actually, Federation wharfs are down there on the river right next to Federation Square. And when we just started walking up the river, and you'll find that there's lots of entertainment along the river, as is usual per any city, but they have no shortage of pubs and bars. In fact, it's almost like they're out of room for pubs and bars because they've started building floating platforms, and we've actually been to the floating bar over here. It's pretty cool. It's a little pricey because it's a gimmick because it's on like a little barge. And they're even throwing bars underneath the bridge because they're out of room for bars. So you should be able to get a drink somewhere in Melbourne. South Bank has a really good view of the city, and they've got a lot more bars and restaurants and cafes and tattoo shops and God knows what else, because it's just got a good view of the city. It's just a happening spot. Let me show you the view. This is the view. So if you're like me and you get too hot, you need somewhere to sit in the shade and cool down and just enjoy things, this is the place to do that. But now we're gonna go explore the things instead of just sitting around. Okay, let's go. You should swing by the Block Arcade if you're interested in very unique, rare gifts or perfumes or fancy desserts. Basically, it's an arcade, it's like an old style shop, classical European architecture, very, very pretty because you got the skylight, so the natural light coming in. But yeah, you should come here, it's a cool place to visit.
What about the floors?
Oh, the floors. Maggie wants me to note the tile mosaic on the floors is quite intricate and impressive. If you like floors, you'll be like, wow, look at these floors. But wait, there's more. Right across the street from the Block Arcade is the Royal Arcade. Equally as neat, but less Renaissance. Still classic, it's nice. The street art in Melbourne's probably, well, we'll say this, we've seen street art all around the world. We would say the best we've seen up until now has been in Hong Kong because they really, really are into their street art. Bristol in the UK has good street art, obviously Banksy's from there. However, after walking down just one of the multiple lanes they have, they call them lanes, they're really just alleyways, all around Melbourne, we would say the street art here is the best we've seen in the whole world so far.
I literally just bought a bunch of bananas, 3 mangoes, and a whole bunch of nectarines for 4 whole Australian dollars, which is a fabulous deal in American dollars. We have snacks.
Anyway, a lot of people ask us, how do we afford to travel? We've been traveling over a year. If you're wondering, we do not eat out for every meal. We cook a lot, and now we're in this tiny little park. We're gonna eat the cheapest food we could find from the grocery store because it's quite expensive to eat in Australia. I don't know why it costs so much to eat. Even at Macca's. And Macca's, by the way, is McDonald's.
Ate protein and more protein and quinoa salad.
Do you guys know what Tim Tams are? Oh my gosh, we've got to show you what Tim Tams are. I don't know why we find really cool things around the world like Tim Tams, which are basically chocolate cookies in Australia. All Australians know what Tim Tams are. And I wonder, like, why don't we have Tim Tams in America? Why can't they export their Tim Tams? Why are they hoarding their Tim Tams and keeping them to themselves? Look, look. Look, this is our lunch. This is number one, how we save money to travel the world. Number two, how we don't get fat because we just don't eat real food. If any of you subscribers are out there are under the age of 25 or younger, you're not gonna understand walking around a garden. You're like, I don't get it. What are you doing? Bunch of trees, bunch of plants. But you know what? When you get older, you're gonna suddenly enjoy, like really enjoy walking around a nice quiet garden that's lush with green and little streams. So I'm gonna put it in the video. You can just fast forward if you don't like this part. I like gardens, and a really nice garden is this garden, the Royal Botanical Garden in Melbourne. So just you can skip ahead. This is the garden scene. I'll put cool music with it.
On down and down, on down, down, wind down, down and down, doo doo doo.
Another area that we recommend you visit if you're coming to Melbourne is St. Kilda, which is a district, a neighborhood in Melbourne, but also there's St. Kilda Beach, which is where we decided to stay because it's cheaper, it's beautiful, it's a little bit quieter. It's a mix of water activities, but also some land-based activities. There's a skate park, there's an outdoor movie theater, there's lots of like high-end clubs. Oh, and there's penguins. There's penguins. We were totally not expecting to walk down the pier and see penguins, but we saw signs that said, come see the penguins, and the sign said they were grumpy, but they didn't look grumpy to me. They looked super, super cute. So St. Kilda, you should come check out St. Kilda. Thanks for watching our video, guys. I promised to cut down on botanical gardens and parks in the videos, but we like them. And I promise you, if you're not old yet, when you get older, you'll like walking in the parks. That's why old people like, Anyway, thanks for watching. After this, we're gonna do the Great Ocean Drive, which is supposed to be absolutely gorgeous. We'll make a cool little video about that and tell you how you should do it if you decide to do it. And then we're gonna go over to Adelaide. We're not spending much more time in Australia. It's a really cool island, biggest island in the world, but we gotta get over to New Zealand because we hear that's equally gorgeous, if not more gorgeous. So we're going there next. Thanks for watching. Okay, bye.